All right, coming up next, I'm going to show you one of the biggest trends that maybe you didn't know about in perfumery, especially niche perfumery. And there's a specific accord or note that has been used in the last year in a lot of the big fragrance houses and a lot of the big new releases that have come out. Can you guess what it is? Write it down in the comments below, and I'm going to talk about it coming up next. Welcome back, everybody, to Joel the Nose. And today's topic is trends in perfumery. I like talking about these things. I like talking about what's happening in the perfume world. I've done videos on this before on some of the trends in the past. It's been fruity notes, especially after the success of Herba Pura. A lot of fragrance brands came out with kind of fruity fragrances, pineapple, different things like that. But in the last year, a lot of the big fragrance houses have come out with a fragrance or a perfume that favors the milk accord, right? You heard me right, milky note, milky accord. It's kind of like a creamy, smooth milk substance. It doesn't look like milk, but it actually has that kind of feel and that smell. And just to kind of show you, I'm gonna show you 9 fragrances, literally that have come out in the last year or so. One of the oldest ones now, it's a little over a year ago, I think now. This is Delina, excuse me, Exclusive from Parfums de Marly. This is a woman's fragrance, but this one really started, excuse me, kind of this trend, I think, recently of milky notes. And now you're seeing it one after another. And interestingly, you have even a fragrance house like Ormond Jane, who in the past never did this type of accord. But you have Byzance, one of their newer fragrances. Linda Pilkington, the managing director of this brand, actually at one time had mentioned that that was like, the milky accord was just something she did not really particularly like. And now you have them with a wonderful fragrance that features the milky accord. If you haven't tried this Byzance, really like this one. Next, I'm gonna go down to a fragrance that is just a gourmand beast. This is Italica from Casa Moratti, and this one, it smells right off the bat almost, it's got saffron, it's got milk, it's got green apple, it almost smells like a cherry gourmand accord, really intense milkiness. I have smelled a lot of fragrances now that seem to be very similar to this one, so I think if you like this kind of very intense gourmand, sweet, milky note, this is one that's very popular and I think you're going to see a lot more of. Speaking of which, one of the newer fragrances from Nobile 1942, this is La Stanza del Bambole. And again, this house to me personifies niche perfumery, Nobile 1942. This and a bunch of other new ones that Maurice just got in and I've been smelling here today really up the game on the niche level. I mean, totally unique smells. I got them all over my arms right now and smelling them. But La Stanza, again, new fragrance built on the milky accord. Here we go. Next, Ghost in the Shell. I've talked about this one recently. This is from Etat Libre d'Orange. Another milky accord fragrance, but this one is like a soapy milk. The other ones are more gourmand. This is like a fresh, soapy, milky accord, and it's a beast. Love this fragrance if you haven't tried it yet. Another example of a new fragrance from BDK, Velvet Tonka. This is one of the newer fragrances from them, also built on a milky accord. What's going on here? I mean, if you guys haven't tried these, and maybe you didn't even know that these were in this. Here's another one that came out in the last year, Madeline, from, of course, Mosque Milano. And Madeline also has milky notes, milky accord. And I'm gonna wrap it all up with one of the newer ones from Memo Paris. This is Corfu. All right, Corfu, and then one of the ones came out about roughly a year ago or so from Initio, of course, Musk Therapy, also a milk note and milky accord. So I think you're gonna see this continue, you know, because these fragrances are clearly kind of, you know, permeating and being very, just really making their way through the market. A lot of them are doing very well, so I think you're going to continue to see this milky accord maybe for the next year or so, you know, until it doesn't work. Very, again, similar to the fruity kind of, you know, almost tropical fruit accords that were popular kind of in the Yerba Pura era, which we're still in that era, but you know, when that came out a couple years ago, when it was re-released a couple years ago, it actually came out much longer, but re-released to huge success a couple years ago. Yeah, I think it's gonna be very big. I think you may see that. Usually niche kind of leads the way. I wouldn't be surprised if you see some of the designer fragrances now copying what's going on here in the niche world with this milky note. But let me know in the comments below, did you guess the note that I was going to talk about today? If you did, you're really good, because you're really on top of things already and know what's happening with trends. And B, let me know if you have any of these fragrances or any other fragrances, maybe ones I didn't mention that had this milky accord, because I'm really interested on hearing everything that's out there and how many more are really following this trend. So there you have it. This is Joel the Nose. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for subscribing. If you have already subscribed, if you haven't, please consider doing so. I appreciate your support, of course. And yeah, I'll be back soon with another video. And what else am I going to say? Peace and love.